Hey guys, it's Roxy back with Paperless X. In today's video, I will be introducing you guys to a new application called Pencil Notes. If you're new to my channel, hi. Make sure you subscribe if you're looking for paperless solutions to become more productive with your technology. And if you're already subscribed, make sure you turn on your notifications so you know when I release a new video. Pencil Note is about 2 months old. One of you guys brought it to my attention. Yes, I do go through all the comments, including the mean ones. So one of you guys brought it to my attention in the comment section, and of course, I couldn't resist. Most of us have fantasized about a hybrid application between Notability and GoodNotes 5, and I'm getting the feeling that someone's listening, actually. This application is evidence of that. The application costs $6.99 on App Store. It's a one-time purchase, and this is definitely the cheapest functional handwriting note-taking application on App Store. Functional being the key word for your iPad. So if you've really been looking for something cheap, you might want to look into this one. At first glance, when I first opened the application, it reminded me of Notability because of its organization and app layout. The sidebar on the left contains my notes here at the top. I have categories and sections. The application has a 2-level organization hierarchy. For a 2-month baby app, I'll forgive them for this organization. More organization levels are always better. The sections in the application contain folders. These are folders that contain folders. And the categories are the folders that contain your notebooks in the application. At the moment, I have a section called Welcome. Under it, I then have a category called Examples. I also have an independent category called French. To create a new folder, simply tap on this plus icon here. It will give you an option to create a category or section. You can also choose the color for it if you want, the exact color you want. Say what? Every time I go through this application, I'm just excited and looking forward to comparing this application to Notability, GoodNotes, and Apple Notes. And let me know if you guys are interested in that. Let's create a section, which I will call Trial, and a category that I'll also call Trial. You can easily move these around, just edit, and you can easily just move them around. At the bottom here, you can choose to see all your documents in the application. You can also see all the documents that you've deleted in the application under Trash. Pencil Note doesn't delete your documents. You have to manually clear your trash. And this might be a good thing if you have a habit of deleting stuff, accidentally deleting things, and then realizing 5 months later that you actually needed what you deleted 5 months ago. If you haven't cleared your trash, then you can easily recover it. You can recover anything, anytime from your trash. Could be useful for somebody out there. You can recover your notes by swiping to the left. And I love the fact that you can do other things to your notes in the trash can. I don't even know how useful this feature is because we've actually never had this option before. Instead of just recovering your notes, you can rename them first. Under settings, you can customize your default title for your notebooks. You can also choose if you want your title to include the date and time of creation for your notes. I prefer knowing the exact dates and times I created my notes because I find this useful later if I'm looking for notes. You can select the default background color for your page templates. The application has 13 colors to choose from, and there's still plenty of room for more. I'm just saying, why not fill it up? That's for the developer, in case they missed that. You can turn on iCloud syncing if you want to sync this application across all your devices, Apple devices, your iPads, and your iPhones. And you can decide the color of your menu, which means your application interface color. Me loves. Today I might be feeling like working in a pink application. Tomorrow it might be blue and red the next day. Who's to stop me? Huh? Who is to stop me? You only change your homepage interface. You don't change the interface in the rest of the application, like the toolbar in the actual workspace. You can turn on gestures. If you don't think they're useful, just turn them off. You have a 1-finger gesture, 1-finger tap to undo, and 2 fingers to redo. These are alright, but why not just use the iPad OS gestures? Those are found in other applications too, and the gestures that we use on our iPads, they become part of our reflexes after some time, and it will just be a lot of work to remember the gestures that are different in just one application. So this is why I have mine turned off, but I have left one gesture that is useful. On the page, you guys will see me using this a lot. You long press to bring up your toolbar anywhere on the page, and I think that's actually a very useful feature to have. You have the option to draw with your finger. No, thank you. No, can do. I don't even know why developers put this option. Anyone ever found this useful? And where you voluntarily use your finger to draw instead of using the Apple Pencil or an active stylus. To close this window, you have to pull it down. I always forget that, so I find myself tapping on the side of this window like a fool, and nothing happens, obviously. I actively have to remember to pull down this page to close it every single time. I'm sure I'll get used to this with time the more I use the application naturellement. But a close icon somewhere on this window, or just the ability to tap the side of the window to close it, would be a more natural, instinctive thing to do for a lot of users. Notebooks in the application are found here on the right. They are arranged by name, date edited, and date created. So each note comes with a thumbnail, the title, the date, the last date you edited your notes. And I think this is really useful information to just have it all there at once, and I like that. Tapping the down arrow here on the right will give you the option to duplicate, move, or delete your notebooks. Swiping to the left will give you another option to delete. To select multiple documents, tap this paper icon on the left top corner. You only get one option when you select multiple documents in the application, which is to move the documents to an already existing folder. I do hope that in the future we'll be able to have more options for this, and that we'll be able to do much more to multiple notes in the application. To create a new notebook, just tap on this plus icon. The application will create a notebook immediately. The way this application creates new notebooks is not very obvious. Other applications, you create a new notebook, a window pops up, or it takes you to the open notebook. This application doesn't do that. So I find myself, I keep tapping to try and create a new notebook, and before I know it, I have so many notebooks on the side. One tap is enough. Tap, then go to the note that you've just created and tap on it as if you want to open the notebook. Tapping on this will bring up a pop-up window that you can then customize your notebook. You can choose the size you want for your notebook, and this application supports A5, A4, and A3 paper sizes. You guys know I am an A4 size type of human, so that's the one I'm gonna choose. After that, you can also decide the page orientation for your notebook, portrait or landscape. You can also add a margin to your notes. How thoughtful. It's good to see this in a note-taking application. For a long time, I just thought, margins are a thing of the past. Going digital means dropping margins. Apparently not. You can still have margins on digital paper. I can also choose the color of my page. And I can also decide if I want lined paper, blank paper, plain paper, or crossed. The application is missing an essential customization though, which is line spacing. The option in the application so far works for me though, and I'm sure it will work for a lot of people, but this is something that definitely needs some attention. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to either customize line spacing, or the application will just give us more templates with different spacing options. People need different spacings for different reasons. Once we are in the actual workspace, the margin itself is a bit too wide for my liking. That's just my personal preference, but some margin, no matter how wide, is better than no margin at all. Up to this point, I've been trying really hard not to compare this application to Notability. The toolbar in Pencl Notes is at the bottom here, which gives your application a minimalist look. The whole top is clear. It almost feels naked, because we're used to having our tools at the top of the application and they're staring at you in the face the whole time. You can write in the application without activating any of the tools at the bottom here. I have pressed my hand on them a lot of times while I'm writing this application and they were not activated. the page in the application moves around a little bit. You can move it to the right and left. You can just pick it and just start moving it around like that. That's not something that actually bothers me, but it's just something that I noticed. The good thing is that when you let go, it just snaps back to its original position. So it's moving around is not really going to make your life difficult or anything like that. For those of you that have been wanting a functional application with Apple Notes set tools, your prayers have been answered. You can choose the color of your pens here. The application allows you to have 4 saved template colors. I really like these colors because the colors are set for different tools. If I change my pen tool to a highlighter, for example, I have a different set of colors for my highlighters. This is amazing because most applications that allow you to set colors, they just set colors for everything. The same colors will work for your highlighter, for your pens. You can also choose the thickness of your pen and the opacity. Now I'm fighting the urge to compare this application to Apple Notes. The application doesn't have a way to let you know how thick your pens are when you're selecting them. Right now, at the moment, you just have to rely on your eyes. Your eyes will just gauge and tell you you are back to the spot that you were using yesterday, which is very difficult. So adding millimeters to this tool will be useful, or at least allow me to save some templates for my thickness so that I have a couple of templates that I can just pick up and use as needed. The writing experience in the application is great, and if you want to know what it feels like before you buy the application, you can try writing in Apple Notes. The experience between writing in this application and that in the Apple Notes is exactly the same, and they have the exact same tools. So if you really want to know if this tool set will work for you, then this is the best way to find out. The application is great. There's no lag. Palm rejection is great. The overall user experience in the application while writing and taking notes is amazing. And of course, I have to talk about the pencil tool because you guys know I love it. I love pencils. Pencils just work, you know? The pencil tool is always better. Zoom Notes, Note Shelf, Apple Notes. I find the pencil tool much better. Anybody else feel like that? No? Am I the only weird one? Oh, okay. Really? Oh, I see. Well. Pencil Note has 2 erasers, one that erases per pixel. It is smooth and pleasant to use. And another one that erases per stroke. This has really become standard for most note-taking applications now. The highlighter goes in front of your ink, but you really need a lot of layers to dim your ink or to make your highlighter completely dim your ink. To achieve that, I imagine you'd probably need to be one jobless human being. That's how much layers it takes to dim your writing. If you're going to be using the highlighter like a normal human being, I doubt you'll dim your notes. I don't like the different layers that the tool creates when your highlights overlap. One could say just don't overlap them. It's really that simple. It's not easy to not overlap your highlights, right? Like, I'm not just being difficult here. The Lasso tool will allow you to move around your selected section. You can cut, copy, delete, or duplicate the selected section. And for the first time in the history of note-taking applications, we have an app with fixed pages that allows you to create space between your notes. When I did the comparison between GoodNotes 5 and OneNote, I mentioned that it was not possible to have this feature in an application with fixed pages. You can imagine the horror when I saw the feature in this application. I thought to myself, why you gotta go and embarrass me like that? Man! But, however, I was happy to learn that my theory wasn't all completely wrong. I might have been wrong about not being able to have this feature in this type of application because clearly you can, and this application has proved that. So yes, you can create space between your notes in the application, but there's a catch. Watch what happens to the ink at the bottom of the page when I create a section above it. It disappears. In case you missed that, it's gone. It's disappearing. That's because the A4 page size doesn't enlarge or it doesn't expand simply because you decided to move your notes. I think if the developers of this application manage to find a solution that will allow moving of all the ink between pages, we might have ourselves a very impressive application. The application has a ruler. The ruler in the application is actually useful because the application doesn't draw straight lines, so you need to use the ruler for you to draw straight lines. Since the application clearly integrated Apple Notes tool into the application, I became curious to see what dark mode would look like in the application. All third-party applications so far, except for OneNote, haven't been able to implement true dark mode. At this point, dark mode in handwriting note-taking applications only applies to the interface of the application. It doesn't change your pages, it doesn't change your ink. So I'm wondering what application will be able to crack that first, and my money is on Zoom Notes. Yeah, they'll probably figure it out first, because Zoom Notes have figured out everything. Which application do you think is going to implement this first? Still on iPad OS features, the application supports multiple instances. Pencil Notes can open the same note twice, and each instance naturally is a fully functional application because the application is open twice. Couldn't be happier. And of course, the application allows you to split view with other applications. That's a given. As you guys have already seen, the application comes with vertical scrolling. The vertical scrolling is smooth and there are gaps separating individual pages. I wish there was a shortcut way to add pages to the application, like pulling to add a page or automatically adding a page every time you write on the last page. Because at the moment, you can only add pages using this plus icon. This is really a bit limiting for you to be manually adding pages every single time, because when you add a page, you have to decide the template and everything. But a good thing about this is that you can have different page templates in the notebook. Even though you can add new pages and different templates to your notebook, they still have to be the same size and the same orientation, because after you've created your notebook, these two are locked. Another thing that I would like to see added to the application is the ability to change the template of a page. So I'll just want to be able to change the page template even after I've decided what page template I want. Instead of adding another one, I just want to be able to change the templates for that page that I've created. Despite having a ruler, the application has a shapes tool. It supports basic regular shapes, which are your triangles, circles, arrows, quadrilaterals, which are squares and rectangles to be exact. For straight lines, you will need to use the ruler, which I've already mentioned, because any line that you draw will automatically be converted to this arrow. You can change the directions of the arrows by simply dragging the arrow to the opposite direction. You can autofill your shape, but your fill and border have the same color. You can adjust opacity of your shape and the thickness of your borders. You can add images to the application either using this camera icon or by drag and drop. You can resize your images using the pinching gesture. The application supports PNG images. I prefer my images without a background. I can view all the pages in my notebook. I can't do much to them though, except move them around and delete some, and that's all that I can do. So to exit the app, tap anywhere on the screen to bring up the home icon. Then tap on that home icon. This two-step process to exit an application is tiring. I just hope that the application will find a way to keep the home icon available on the screen at all times. It will just make the user experience a lot better. The application also opens PDFs. The PDF annotation features are the most basic I have seen in any note-taking application. You can use any of these tools to annotate your PDFs, and if you really like this tool set, if you like iBooks, for example, then you will definitely enjoy using Pencl Notes for your PDF editor. But just note that navigating through this application will be manual. When you're exporting your notes out of the application, you can choose the pages that you want to export, and you can name your document before you export it. You can include background, and you can also include background color, and then you can just export it. And it will just show you a preview of your notes before you export them, and you can export them to different applications as PDFs. Let me know in the comment section down below what other features you would like to see added to this application, what you like about it so far, and what you don't like about it so far. We can look forward to this application becoming better. I'm really excited with the approach this application has already taken, the fact that it's taking different ideas from different note-taking applications and implementing it into one. Great application, highly recommend it. It still has a bit of work to do, but it's really off to a great start, and I would definitely want to see this application develop. And this brings me to the end of this video. What do you guys think about this new note-taking application? Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.